welcome everyone to LEVREMEMBERS Live with my partner in crime, Malcolm Nance, of the trio of Unleashed. Without Michael's not here to join us right now, but this is something very serious happening right now. We just witnessed something that's never happened in our country before, and it sounds like Groundhog Day. I know I keep saying it every time we get on and we do a live. It's something that new, something that we didn't witness, but today, and then we'll let Malcolm rant, and I know he's waiting to go unleash in about a second about what we just saw, but I just want to make a quick comment. Is there's two things happening at the same time today, and it's not coincidental. And this is very important. I tell you all, make sure keep your eye on the ball. Make sure you watch what they're doing and not what they're saying and everything. As you know, you got the media scrambling with the shutdown. All of a sudden, they're talking about how Hegseth is, getting all these generals, and he's in this one place, and they're laughing at them, talking about that they're don't know what they're doing, that this is clown show. I want to stop you and tell you this is very serious. This is not coincidental. This is part of something a lot bigger. This is being managed by people like Stephen Miller, Russell Vaught, and Susie Wiles now as part of the group. This is part of the full implementation of Project 2025. This is why this was called during this time. The shutdown is happening, and there's a reason in what they're going to do in it, and what just transpired here. And I mean, I'm going to let Malcolm just jump into a lot of the stuff you want to talk about, Malcolm. But the one thing that really stuck out that I wanted to maybe start off with is where Trump literally came out and said, and if you guys, let me just let people hear it with their own ears, because this is something like really, I couldn't believe when I heard it. Here we go.
Very important.
Hold on.
Hold
on a second. Maybe get this louder a little bit. So Trump basically standing in front of all the generals, all the military, to top brass, Malcolm, came out and started floating, saying that he wants to send in the U.S. military and start using democratic cities as training grounds for our U.S. military. Listen to this, folks, and then Malcolm, it's all yours, brother.
We should, and I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid. They threw him out of his family business. He was so stupid. I know the family. He becomes governor.
You heard that?
Yeah, I heard that. I heard it when he said it. And
there's the third.
I heard. Hey, there's Michael.
How you doing, Malcolm?
All right. Well, good.
Hey, Lev, how are you feeling, Lev?
Not that great, but with this what I just heard.
Let me be very clear about something. Warriors are not allowed to get sick. Did you not listen to Pete Hegseth say that this morning? Warriors do not get sick.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I was laying in bed when I was listening to this, and when I started hearing this, I called Malcolm. I said, "Malcolm, are you hearing this?" He said, I'm leaving out of the country in 30 minutes." He goes, "If you want to." I said, "Let me get out of bed and let's go live." And I'm glad you joined us, Michael, because this is really something that is unheard of. Go ahead, Malcolm.
The three amigos.
We need to do this every time stupid shit happens. Right? Emergency unleashed. Well, first, my first comment about this was Pete Hegseth, his speech was something that you would give to the Boy Scouts. These were the top military brass, 54 stars and 750 other individuals with up between 1 and 3 stars, and 800 of their senior enlisted who were there. And this could have been done in a video, MPEG. He could have sent to everybody, or he could have live streamed it, or whatever. I have heard from some people that he got a lot of pushback this week from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who was Trump's personal handpicked Air Force general that he brought out of retirement, right? Who was only a 2-star general and was promoted to 4 stars to come and de-wokeify the Department of Defense. Well, Hegseth put out his National Defense Plan this last week and had it reviewed by all the generals, and it was going to do this: withdraw America from Europe, withdraw America from the Indo-Pacific, the Pacific and the Indian Ocean, and withdraw America from Africa. And that most of these resources would be redirected to Homeland Security in the United States. They would start doing what they said. Now, this is essentially saying everything since fucking D-Day is going away. Everything we fought for, all the resources we put in place around the world, he wants to withdraw. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs pushed back hard. And that's the Washington Post reported this. And that a lot of other generals like, oh, hell no. Also, in the run-up to this little speech, I guess people were hammering him about, you're going to ask the military to do nothing. And that's why he came up and kept saying 4 times at my count, a apolitical military. Well, you can say that, and then in the next breath, start talking about going into American cities, right? And I knew Trump would come out and fuck it up for him. I knew Trump would come right out and spill the beans. And what Hegseth probably said was, we have to back down on doing these as big active operations. And Trump came out and said, well, Hegseth said, no, it's Trump, said he has that mobile strike force that they're standing up to go to American cities. And Trump said, yeah, we're going to do training in American cities. That came from fucking Hegseth.
I couldn't believe my ears.
Going to train to be what? Fallujah? Baghdad? Is that what they're going to train on?
And right, he went on to mention the cities: San Francisco, Chicago, New York, California, the same cities that and continue. He said, "Oh, and by the way," he goes, "the National Guard is coming to Chicago." I didn't forget, literally. But look, he blew. Before he even got on his helicopter, Michael. Before he even got there, the first thing the guy said was, it was playing Trump. He couldn't keep it in his pants. He couldn't keep it. He just walked out and said, I'm going to go meet all these generals and admirals, and if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire them right on the spot.
Yeah. You heard, his opening comment is like, you could laugh, and if any of you, have different opinions, or you want to say, you may want to leave, and save your pension, and I'll tell you, the problem that I see is if you listen to Hegseth's speech, there are actually parts of it, I think, that everybody would turn around and say, sure, our military, we want them to be what they're designed to be, fighters, right? So I totally get it. And there should be, right, because there should be a minimum standard. And Malcolm, you could probably talk best with, since neither Lev or I were ever in the military or on the police force. But there should be at least some minimum basic standings. Now, if all of a sudden facial hair, other than, of course, if you are a SEAL, should not be permitted, do I give 2 shits if you tell somebody that they have to shave? I truly don't. Maybe we should tell our vice president, if you want to look the part, maybe you too should shave. But what am I talking? In fact, all these fucking guys, from Ted Cruz, who never had facial hair in his life, I think he had a facial hair transplant. All of a sudden, they all have facial hair. Okay, fine. Then he turns around and he goes that everybody should be able to do certain standards. And I'm with him on that, right? You want everybody to be the same, regardless of gender or race or religion and so on. I was all great with that. In fact, as sometimes I walk down here in the city of New York and I bump into police officers, I do often wonder how they actually passed any test, considering, they're like 300 pounds. There's no chance in the world that, this guy or this woman is running after a perp. So sure, I get it. But his speech was sexist. It was homophobic.
Oh yeah.
Transphobic, xenophobic. it was shocking. And just like what you guys just said, just when you thought it was racist, just when you thought that things couldn't get sort of weirder, you've got the top military brass here, and I'm all for it. You want the world to know, because I think he's planning on going to war in order to stop the midterms, no doubt in my mind. But my biggest fear is you want your military to be fierce. You want to take the gloves off them, where people aren't now worrying about terms of engagement. So, you can just basically go in and level houses and clear houses, despite the fact that they're not enemy combatants. They're just basically hostages in a specific country. I'm not sure that speech was so well thought out up until Trump came in and made everything crystal clear, at least for me.
Politics.
No. He made it crystal clear. Now that we have taken over the Gulf of America, we, my subscribing friends, we are all safe now. We are absolutely safe. There is nobody that can touch us, because nobody will dare cross through the Gulf of America.
Because we changed the name.
That was a good reason.
Thanks to Google, we have now secured our ninth military win.
What about did you just watch him stand out there? Putin, Putin. My good friend Putin,
Putin says you're the hottest country.
The hottest. Even Putin said we have the hottest country. But
he told me that.
Yeah, but guys, I want to ask you this question. But isn't this part of like a bigger picture? Isn't this part of the same? If you take a look at, Project 2025 and everything that they're doing, the message. Yes, the problem we could all agree upon. It's like immigration. We don't want murderers in our country. We don't want these crazy, but it's the way you deal with it. We don't want you to take away our rights to be American citizens and pick up citizens off the street and go just throw them in concentration camp because you feel like. So it's the same thing here. Yes, Michael, I agree with you. Do we want the best army in the best shape and certainly, absolutely. But you don't go around collecting everybody from around the world, putting them on the stage in front of the whole world, playing it in front of the whole, like you berating. It's like I can just imagine China, Russia, and Russia. They're sitting there looking like this, like, oh my God.
Do you know who he actually really put on the spot more than anybody today were those that were there in the audience, hundreds and hundreds. So Malcolm, I want to ask you, he has now invoked that they too are not immune from the MOS, the men only standard, that they need to be able to do 15 chin-ups. They need to be able to run a mile in 8 minutes, that they need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Some of these guys are like 60 years old. And with all due respect, they've put on a couple of pounds over the years. I guess that's really, they're not all Pete Hegseth, who, when you're basic job is the weekend, right? You have Monday through Friday to hit the gym and so on. But I am somewhat curious, Malcolm. What's going to happen to 2-star general, 1-star general who can no longer run an 8-minute mile, give or take, because he blew out his knee in Iraq, right? Or in Vietnam or wherever, right? He blew out his knee, but he still has the ranking and he has the mental acuity within which to be a leader. According to Hegseth, unless you are one of them, I suspect that anybody over the age of 50 will not be, at least the half of them will no longer be able to continue with their ranking.
Yeah. I'm actually right now, I have it on my phone. I have an app because I try to maintain the Navy's PT standards. And I'm just looking up the PT standards for men 50 and above. And as you age, there are blocks where they block you off. And you still got to maintain a standard. But when you're 60 And let me tell you, when you're an admiral, you have to, when you're an admiral, you have a standard, but you grow in age. And that's where injuries come. These guys are a body of experience and leadership. And let me tell you, Omar fucking Bradley, when he invaded Normandy, okay, and Dwight Eisenhower were not looking at their senior commanders like Theodore Roosevelt Jr., and saying, who was 66 years old, I believe he was at the time. Somebody correct me. When he landed on fucking Omaha Beach, they didn't meet the standards of a 24-year-old infantryman. They didn't meet the standards of a 30-year-old paratrooper, right? They are the body of experience. Hedseth's a fucking fool.
Hey,
He is
Malcolm,
just all show and performance because every morning he goes to a different Army or Navy unit and does PT with them. Can't even do a decent pull-up.
Hey, Malcolm, question for you. Then, under those circumstances, and Lev, what do you think about this one? What do you think that there should be then a standard for maybe the commander in chief as well?
Oh, well.
One push-up, right? One hamburger, right? One Haagen-Dazs ice cream in under 60 seconds. I mean, what's the standard then for the commander in chief?
But you know what, guys? I mean, with all of this saying, but there was something even a little bit more sinister in some of the things that I took out of the speech. I want to talk to the two of you about that is really sinister. First of all, the fact that, we're living in a part of the Epstein files. We're trying to uncover the Epstein files, survivors. And these guys are not taking us back. And just listen to something he said, Pete Hegseth said in his speech when it comes to anonymous complaints and stuff like that.
We are overhauling an inspector general process, the IG, that has been weaponized, putting complainers, ideologues, and poor performers in the driver's seat. We're doing the same with the equal opportunity and military equal opportunity policies, the EO and MEO at our department. No more frivolous complaints, no more anonymous complaints, no more repeat complainants, no more smearing reputations, no more endless waiting, no more legal limbo, no more sidetracking careers, no more walking on eggshells.
I mean, that is, this is, I mean, they're taking this again. I keep referring back to Project 2025, but this is again now taking the military back. And the other one thing before Malcolm, I'm going to give it to you. He also mentioned that I don't have the tape on it yet, but he mentioned that was also very serious. Is he said we are going to now allow our commanders to train the infantry, go back the way it should have been, put fear into them, put hands onto them. When he said put hands onto them, and he mentioned he tried to walk it back a little bit by saying, well, we're not saying to like beat them or like to do, but to do what they need to do. It reminded me of kids being paddled in school.
No, it reminded me of Full Metal Jacket.
Yes, closer. That's a better analogy. And that's exactly what he's talking about. He was talking about Army boot camp. And let me tell you, there's a guy who was a drill sergeant. He's got a big following on YouTube called Only Cops. And he talks about the standards at boot camp where you cannot touch a person, right? You can't grab them by the collar, which we call an attention grab. You can't push them and things like that. And this stuff is developed over 80 years, right? And it's not because it's woke. It's because, it's unnecessary. And there are statistics where you can show where people got injured by being pushed, right? As opposed to in the environment testing them. But they want the whole screaming thing, like Full Metal Jacket. Okay, you can go back to that. And that'll be fun. And everybody has that, that shared experience. But he's calling anything other than being part of his Department of War the Department of Woke. And look, we're an evolved combat force. The Department of Woke beat everybody who stood up to them in Iraq and beat everybody who stood up to them in Afghanistan, right? With these standards. What he's really talking about is he's talking about the people and this is why he wants to reform the Inspector General's office to make complaints. He wants to reform the people who were convicted of war crimes, who were turned in to their inspector generals. We had a SEAL team turned in the entire fucking platoon of 16 team guys, turned in this chief who is executing people.
And he pardoned him. He
pardoned him. Trump pardoned him. We had another guy.
Rudy made sure it to happen. I was with them in the Trump Hotel several times. Know that case very well.
He's a fucking murderer. We had another guy who literally murdered, not a prisoner.
There was a movie, I think, I forget who was in it, Rules of Engagement. There is a reason. There is a reason that there are rules of engagement. You see a kid walking across the street. That kid is not supposed to be target practice. That child, unless he is posing a danger to, the men and women in uniform, that is a civilian maybe running across the street to bring food back to a younger sibling or to a parent or what have you, because he could run faster. That child is not supposed to be target practice, But all of this, as Lev just said, this is a gigantic distraction. It's a gigantic distraction from what? From the release of the Epstein file? Is it, I don't know, is it to distract us from whatever else is taking place behind the scenes that is going to remove our rights yet again, as we now have a government shutdown that's looming in like 15 hours, midnight tonight, government will cease to basically be able to properly function.
But that's part of the plan.
And who is it that's going to get hurt the worst? As I wrote in my Substack today, everyone except for that top 1% are going to feel it, because we don't have private planes that are going to take off, right? Where you don't have to worry about TSA, you don't have to worry about flight controls. This is absolutely absurd. Republican, Democrat, Independent are all going to suffer. And why are we allowing it? Why are we not? And I want to be the first here with Lev and Malcolm and myself to ask each and every one of you, hashtag the shit all throughout the day. Do your job. Let's even go one step further. Congress, do your job. All right. And don't tell me, I don't want to hear from another person who wants to tell me that Democrats can't do anything. Republicans control everything. That is such a cop-out. I don't care. Stand in front of Congress. Go call MSNBC, CNN, even call Fox, calls Newsmax. I don't care. Call Midas Touch Network and tell them to put it on their network. Call us. We'll do it with them. Turn around every single person all throughout the day. Just have people marching out there. Congress, do your job. Somebody needs to do something. We are the ones that are going to suffer. And we must make sure that our voices are loud, that we are angry, and we will not accept this shit. There is no more issue where Republicans and Democrats cannot sit down and speak about something that should not be bipartisan. It should not be partisan. Right. When Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, for God's sakes, are all going to suffer, it's enough. Do your fucking jobs.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. But this is all part, like I said, this is, it's coming to a point where it's more than just distraction. I mean, they're already like laying out the groundwork. I mean, yes, he definitely is distracting us and trying to take us away from the Epstein file, guys. But this is more. He's already like, this is Project 2025 in full force. Like, I spoke to one of my sources today. We were talking, and he was telling me, like, Lev, he goes, remember, like, going back in the day, this is what he set the Democrats up to what we're seeing with the shutdown. And he said again today when he was walking out the room, I'll let you listen to it with your own ears. I mean, this is exactly because when I spoke to my guy on the phone and then I went to listen to his interview coming out, I said, holy shit. I mean, there he is. He's telling you, he put them in a corner for them to come and beg and grovel to come to the White House, where he threw them out, but told them, you came, blame them, basically turned it out, came out, then you had Vance and Thune and all of them come out and talk about how the Democrats are just trying to destroy our country, turning the media. And then today is the real truth, why they want to shut down the government, because it's part of again, Project 2025. Listen to what Trump said.
Oh, okay. Workers in place layoff. Well, we made you a lot, and that's only because of the Democrats. That, as you know, they want to be able to take care of people that are coming to our country illegally, and no system can handle that. And so we're totally opposed on that. But we can't take it. We just can't do it. I'd love to do everybody. I'd love to do the whole world. But our country can't handle people that come into our country illegally, and they want to give them full health care benefits. They want to open the wall again.
So you see, the framing of what's happening, that the reason why we're shutting down the government is because the Democrats want to give everything again to the immigrants, to the, again, total lie. But how he started off with saying, which was extremely important, and I'm going to just play that quickly one more time. The very beginning is what he's planning on doing when we shut it down.
There is a shutdown. How many federal workers do you plan to lay off? Well, we made you a lot, and that's only because the Democrats.
How many federal workers are you planning to lay off? He goes, we're going to do a lot, and it's all because of the Democrats. So this is part of the narrative, and that's why today, that's why I said it's not coincidence that today is the day he had, right before, like you said, Michael, midnight, the government shuts down. Before the shutdown, they had this whole planned speech with all the generals, because they're all going to be, once this shutdown happens, everybody in that room is going to be affected by it. No?
Yeah.
Just think about it. So this is now this is the craziness that they're putting into play right now. And to make matters worse, to use American cities as training facilities, I can't even fathom where we're going.
I hate to say it, though, Republicans are winning the messaging war, as they do every single time. They're winning. We watch as Hakeem Jeffries stands there, and
don't even get me started.
Slew of the Democrats. Malcolm, I'm going to get you started because everybody loves to hear from Malcolm, right?
Almighty.
I'm sorry. They have Hakeem Jeffries standing there. They have a whole slew of Democratic members of Congress, of the House of Representatives standing behind. Do your job. Okay, great. It might have been one of the worst speeches I have ever heard. We are in a precipice right now. We are hanging by a thread, and we are losing the messaging war, despite the fact this is not Democrats' government. This is a Republican government. This is the Republican shutdown. The fact that we are sitting there, Susan, 1 second, the fact that we are going to turn around and allow the Republicans to beat us at the message when it is totally on them? What's wrong with us?
Well, the problem is this. Because I was just ranting about Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer just this morning. Somebody said it perfectly on Twitter the other day. It might even have been George Conway, where he said, Democrats should be holding a press conference every day. Every day, a joint press conference. And it should start with this. This man's a liar. This man lies. He's a pathological liar.
Yep.
So we're not going to sit here and argue whether Democrats want to feed immigrants. The man's a liar. And I'm not going to entertain negotiations with a guy he doesn't exist within our reality. He doesn't exist in our reality. In his crazy reality, the Democrats control the government. We don't. Why can't you get your 217 fucking Republicans to do it? This is on you. You shut down the government.
Absolutely.
I think you meant Republicans control the government.
I meant Republicans control the government. Yeah, they got 217 seats. right?
Both of you said exactly what the problem is, and that's why, why it's so important. Right now, we have a little over 1,500 people here. I want to take this time for a second, and I want to mention this is why it's so on all of us, because there is no democratic leadership. Because you heard what Malcolm just said, you heard what Michael just said. They should be on every day. They united. There should be a united message in front of the television that Donald Trump is a liar. He's lying to you people. The American public needs to know. They should be on every Substack. They should be on YouTube. They should be on the Midas. They should be on Michael Cohen show.
That's right. They should. They should be on all of those.
They should be every day. Every Democrat should be a united front. There should be people going on certain channels. They should be going on Fox. They should have Democrats on Fox. We should have somebody on the other channels talking about what it is, because you only hear one-sided voices. They're either scared or incompetent. I don't know what the problem is, but we need the world to wake up. We need you guys to wake up, and that's why right now, every single one of you who's not yet subscribed to either myself, Michael, or Malcolm, either one of us, go hit that button on top, and you see all three of the subscriptions come up, and make sure you're a subscriber to all three. That's the most easiest thing, each and every one. When you say, what can I do? That's the first thing you could do. The second thing you could do is close your eyes for 1 second and say to them, what else can I do to save my democracy? Because it's slipping away, folks, and it's left to us. We can no longer sit there and say we have leadership or somebody that's going to take care of us, do something for us. It's not there. It's up to each and every one of us. And that doesn't mean that you got to run into the streets and scream. No, it has to be use your brain. Each and every one of us could do something. Me, Malcolm, Michael, we're out here every day. What the Democrats should be doing, speaking truth to power, but we can't do it alone. We need your support. And for those of you that are out there supporting us, subscribing to us, becoming paid subscribers, God bless you, and we thank you. But for those of you that have not yet, make sure right now, go out there if you can, become a paid subscriber, because it means everything to us. Go ahead, Malcolm.
Lev, I know some people, I see it down in the text, they go, oh, that speech again. Here's our problem. We have 1,500 people. We know that's part of a community. But the opposition is so splintered that it is hard to form communities that would come together to oppose the Republicans on a mass scale. Everybody wants to be in their little bubble. And so I don't mind hearing the speech from you guys about tell people to follow us, tell people to follow Don Lemon, tell people to follow freaking Jim Acosta. I don't care. All of us should be working together, one team, one fight. Because, people get into their little Gaza bubble or they get into their little Ukraine bubble. I'm not, I'm in that same league, right? But this is above and beyond that now. I think it was not Steve Schmidt, but another guy from the Bulwark who was saying we've got to fucking let go all your stupid shit. Yes. Right? We have got Bill Maher even put that out the other day pretty well. It's like one issue is the end of American democracy now, and we are running into fascism, and most Americans don't care, don't pay attention, and it doesn't impact them, even though prices are going up, gas is going up.
Yeah, until it kicks them right in the groin.
Right. And then
steel-tip boots. And then you turn around and you scratch your head and you say, how'd this happen?
Yeah, but then that's when Trump will lie.
When did this happen?
That's when Trump will lie and say the Democrats did it, because there's no consistent, constant message going out framing Trump as the pathological fascist nutcase that he is. And we've got to pressure the Schumers and the freaking, and Hakeem Jeffries. I really cannot believe Hakeem Jeffries.
One of the reasons why we constantly ask you, our Substack family, our community, to help us to grow our channels together, whether it's when Lev, Malcolm, and I are together for Unleashed, and I think we need to be doing more of those, or we do them on our own separate platforms.
Right.
The reason that we constantly repeat it, to please hit that Chiron up top. If you're a Michael supporter, please make sure you subscribe to both Malcolm and Lev, Lev to Malcolm and I, and Malcolm to Lev and I, and so on. The reason we do that, we're not just up against Republicans. I want people to understand this, and I want to get your take, Lev and Malcolm, because tell you what I'm experiencing, even right here on this Substack platform. I'm experiencing, I guess it's called shadow banning, where it just does not reach people. I get a multitude of DMs from people every single day saying, I can't find your platform.
Yeah, same thing
Or
here.
I can't,
I don't know.
I told a friend to subscribe. They said they can't find it. Or audio. There's a problem with audio, or your text posts. Well, that's a problem because for whatever the reason may be, and I don't know if you've seen it as well over the last 4 days specifically, the number of subscribers have gone down. So when Lev said the simplest thing that you could do, everybody needs to do something. There is no knight in shining armor riding into DC, wielding a shield and a sword. There is nobody like that coming to rescue us. We have to rescue each other. And when we ask, please restack our post. Share it with family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, postmen. It doesn't make a difference. Share it with everybody. Help us to grow. And when I say us, I'm not just talking about Malcolm and Lev. I'm talking about this entire Substack community. We need to have the numbers to ensure the midterm success. If we don't have a midterm success, all this goes away. And when I mean all this, I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this goes away.
Yeah. We have to start. That's the crazy part. I know it sounds nuts, folks, but we are at a precipice. We are at a point right now with Michael and Malcolm are telling you, where we're telling you guys here, that this is not a joke. I know some of you think, oh, it's scary, but we're not coming. It's like, you stop scaring us. The end of the world's not coming. No, it's not the end of the world, folks. This is not. But this is going back to the beginning. This is something that we fought for over a century, to get to our rights and to get the Constitution, what Michael just picked up to you, to show you to where we got our rights and freedoms, and the way, even just the simplest thing of what we've achieved as a country all over the world through our army, our forces. It's all going to go away. We're going to wake up and we're going to be in a country where you're going to be forced to wear American-made jeans, drive American-made cars. You're not going to want to travel to Europe. But those of you that might be younger don't remember the Cold War, where, we were at war with Russian people. They traveled nowhere. You stayed inside America. That's what they're trying to bring to you.
Yep. And they're turning it against us. I mean, we are now at the precipice of full-blown fascism in the United States. And it's working because they don't like us to call them fascists now. Now they're furious.
Now it's
right?
fascist, right?
They use that stupid shit word all the time against us, right? Calling us the enemy and things like that. If you guys, if you ever thought about what you'd be doing if you were in Nazi Germany in 1936, you're doing it now. It hasn't gone to the full-blown uniforms and executing people left and right, because a lot of the systems aren't there. But if you saw the videos of ICE walking through Chicago in 25-man platoons, they're not in the South. I did a security assessment of the city of Chicago 10 years ago for a major nonprofit. And I went to every park in that city. I mean, where drug deals are going on. I went into every bad neighborhood. Guess where ICE isn't? Guess where the National Guard isn't? They're downtown and riding 3 and 4 gunboats up and down the canal and off of the beachfront and in the whitest of white neighborhoods. This is designed to intimidate the population and to, I don't know, reassure the white MAGA people that Chicago's secure. 25-man ICE platoons. All I want to know is, if you live in Chicago, how in God's name are you allowing these people to walk around without following them with a loudspeaker playing, the theme from Benny Hill? Right? Yakety sax. I mean, you got to shame these guys. And people are shouting at them and calling them Nazis and occupiers and Gestapo. Not enough, not loud enough. This is the time to make your opposition heard. And it's coming to, now we hear that a governor of Louisiana wants National Guard in 4 cities. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, I saw a video. It was on YouTube, not YouTube, and it was the best thing where they tried to ICE in Chicago, try and grab delivery driver.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And a delivery driver, and under this music, yakety yak, they're chasing him, and he gets away. He couldn't even catch him. That was the best video.
Yeah, the point is that kind of humiliation and ridicule works. Psychological operations, we do that too. But I'm just saying, you've got, if you're going to oppose them right, oppose them good, right? And I run that FAFOPAC.org political action committee, right? We are trying to get people on the 18th of October. If you can't go to one of the massive rallies, find an overpass over a highway that's trafficked and put up a sign or have a rally down there. You can have more impact in 30 minutes at an overpass than you could all year, because the audience that is not voting is not seeing the messages about Epstein. Is not seeing the messages about the economy.
Malcolm, Patty just asked a really great question.
Yep.
And again, it's one that sort of exceeds my knowledge. What do you think the generals were thinking as Pete Hegseth stood on there? It almost reminded me of what's the name of that the guy Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah.
As he was walking back and forth. It did. Trying to give a pep rally. It reminded me of like a high school football coach, right? Turning around and walking back and forth, trying to hype up the school that, the Wolverines are going to beat the Cougars, and what we need to do. I'm dying to know what you think. If there was a way to get a bubble over every general's head, what do you think that they were thinking?
I can tell you what they were thinking, because, you sit there and you're looking at the stage and you evaluate this guy based on his very limited military career. He was a reservist, a National Guard officer, not even a regular Army reservist.
I'm so sorry. By the way, he said at one point in time that he ran a platoon. Is that true?
Yeah, he ran a platoon once. Not shitting you. If you ever go to Fred Wellman, who is another big talker in the liberal circuit. Fred Wellman was a helicopter pilot and an infantry officer and an intelligence officer. And he goes, I commanded thousands of people over my time before I retired. This guy commanded one platoon. Fred Wellman was in combat flying helicopter gunships in Iraq, right? And he had hundreds of guys under him. And he's like, so here's what the generals were thinking. They're sitting back and they're going, this is a fucking major. There's like 40,000 majors in the U.S. Armed Forces or something. And he goes, you know what they were doing? They were sitting and thinking about the fitness evaluation they would be writing for this guy. And they would say the bubble over their head would be, officer needs consistent counseling. Officer has major defects. Officer is unfit for continued service in the United States Armed Forces. The guy is a alcoholic. He is a credibly accused and settled sexual assaulter, and he's an open fucking racist, and his own unit turned him in as a white nationalist supremacist.
So, Malcolm, so let me ask you this. Because I think the biggest question that we all are thinking, and nobody better than you to give us an insight on this, is what happens next now? Now after hearing what do you think? Like, if you were one of those generals sitting in the room, if these generals, they just witnessed not only Pete Hegseth, what you said, this a major coming in, and it's like you're this brain surgeon, science doctor that's done all this work for 40 years, and then you got this kid coming in that has not even got his medical degree telling you how to run it type of stuff, and changing everything you've done. So all of this now is going through it, and then they sat through an hour and 15-minute like diaphragm of just nonsense from the leader, their leader in chief. Our, is standing there telling him that they're about to now be used. We're not going to concentrate on securing, going to war all over the world. We're going to war inside our country.
Yeah,
We're going to go and we're preparing for war. This was a preparation for war inside our country, guys. I mean, this is crazy.
The problem is there's nothing over there that moved the dial. There are generals. There are a lot of generals that support Trump. Okay, I'm sorry to tell you guys, Trump is a white nationalist movement. And somebody said the voting record was 60% of the armed forces voted for Trump. There's a reason for that, because the armed forces is 43% minority. 43% Latino, Black, Asian. They didn't vote for fucking Trump. So these guys who were sitting there now got to see the full in-your-face presentation that this man's a moron. And that he's stupid and he's political and he doesn't, Joe Biden never told you guys that you were a great armed force. He did it all the time. Every fucking speech, his son died, right? From cancer that's killing hundreds of our soldiers right now. He has fucking fuck tons more skin in the game. But this is where we are. Here's what the generals are thinking as my last thought. What's for lunch? Fuck this guy. Guy's a moron, but we're all here in Virginia. Let's go have lunch.
But do they leave? Do some of them? I mean, like, because one of the way Trump started the conversation. This is what I'm saying. The way
I
Trump
suspect that Trump already has a silent slaughter going right now, and that all the blacks who were in the audience, there might be 20 or 30 of them out of the 800, and all of the women can kiss their careers goodbye.
Well, he basically turned around and he said to that large group, they are already taking a look at, DEI. That, by the way, who do you think that he's targeting when he talks about DEI?
Blacks,
he's certainly not talking about, the white, male, whether it's one star or multiple, he's speaking about minorities. He's speaking about the women that are in that room. And lo and behold, it's just a matter of time that they're going to get moved out themselves, because he wants a homogenous military leadership. And unfortunately, people of color don't fall into that group.
No, they're not central casting.
Women don't fall into that group.
They're not central casting. That's Trump's.
By the way, that's a great line. You're right. By the way, you each owe me $1, and I'll expect it in the mail. And why do you guys both owe me $1?
Why?
Something we spoke about on our Thursdays Unleashed.
Which one?
I told you that within 2 weeks, they're going to stop talking about Charlie Kirk. You have to put Charlie Kirk's name. 72 hours.
Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry to say it, but as soon as you said that, I almost went, oh, him.
No.
We've forgotten about that guy. No. That guy doesn't exist even in MAGA's mind now.
After dinner, Michael. But anyway, I know Malcolm has to run.
I do.
Michael, thanks for jumping in. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you guys for jumping at the last.
Thanks, guys.
For breaking it. But the one thing I do want to leave you guys off with, and because a lot of people say, this is not a show, folks. I really want to make it very clear to you. We are here fighting for our democracy. We are here risking, and I want to make it very clear, we are risking, me, Malcolm, and Michael are risking our freedom, because this is not a joke. We are not here to try to make money. We are not here to try to become some kind of celebrities. Right. We are here because each and every one of us, the three of us, have been put in position because God has chosen, for whatever reason, to put us in these positions in our life that we can be here right now to be able to fight this fight and bring you the information that not the media, not the pundits, nobody out there brings to you. And because of that, we are on that target list. And it's not a joke. Donald Trump watches these shows. He's told about them. He knows Michael very well. He knows me very well. And he knows the outspoken guy sitting right next to both of us right there, Malcolm Nance, very well. So that's why I want to make it very clear. The point we're trying to get the numbers, and this is very important, is because that is our safety. That is our safety net, folks. The louder our voices are, the bigger our, the harder and the scarier it will be for them to go after us and to shut us up. So I want to leave you on that note and understand that this is not a joke. I know we laugh sometimes. I know we make light of the situation, but we each and every one of us have families, kids, and we risk it all. We have these conversations with our wives and our kids every day about going on live, about writing that letter, about speaking up truth to power to Donald Trump or Stephen Miller or any of these people. And it's a real, real struggle. So please understand that and respect that. And with that, I want to leave you on so each and every one of you could do something. So go out there and let's get our democracy back. Thank you for joining us.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.